Hi, I'm Melissa Muir. Welcome back for another Tool Time Tuesday video. I do a lot of different soldering techniques with my jewelry, and one of the things that I really like to do is to take multiple pieces of metal and solder them together, especially when they're different types of metal. So one of the things I want to show you really quickly today is a quick trick at how to not get your solder to flow and show all over the base plate. So here I have a piece of copper and then a piece of sterling silver that I'm going to solder on top of the copper. But what I don't want to have happen when I'm soldering my sterling on is to have the solder flow out onto the copper. And that's an issue that some people have. So one of the things that I do before I solder my top piece on is I take my file and I file a bevel onto the back piece, probably about a 45-degree angle, if you can see that. Very, very simple, and I go all around the entire piece to do this. Now what this is going to do is it gives it a ledge, and that is pretty much where the solder will stop flowing. So that way we still have on the top surface, we have our piece that comes all the way out, but on the back it doesn't come all the way to the edge. And again, like I said, that gives that solder a place to stop flowing. Now, the solder will continue to flow if you happen to overheat your piece. So you do want to be aware of your temperature when you are doing the soldering. Just pay attention to your metal and the color of it, and you should be fine. But at this point, the solder will now flow right up until that edge where I have filed that edge onto it and not go any further. So at this point, I am ready to go and solder this on, and I'm going to just do what we call sweat soldering, where I'll just place my solder chips on the back of my, in between them, sandwich them together, and then heat my piece up, and we'll see what we end up with. When I'm starting, I always start with a layer of flux, and it does not matter if you use a liquid flux or a paste flux. So either one will work just fine. Coat both pieces quite liberally. I always use silver solder when I'm working with this. You can use hard, medium, whatever, but I usually use hard about 98% of the time when I am soldering. And that is because once your solder has flowed, the melting temperature of that rises. So the next layer, even though I use hard solder, the new solder will flow before the old solder. Alright, so at this point I'm going to take the time, get everything positioned how I want it. And we're ready to go. Okay, my piece moved a little bit, so I was able to move it over just slightly. Still a little bit off, but you get the idea. Never quench your metal when it is red. Always wait until it has cooled a little bit, and then you can quench. But you can see now, everything is soldered on, and we do not have any solder that has flown out. And with silver solder, you would easily be able to see that if it had done it on the copper. So here you can see the final piece. You can see that the solder has not come out, it's not run or anything like that. So I'm just ready to add my patina and then incorporate this into my pieces.